Good morning, class. Today we're going to do lesson number 20. We're going to look at ways you can get paid part 2. So I thought we'd start by looking at a pay stub. So what you could expect in BC for a pay stub and what kind of deductions you get and how you can kind of check to make sure you're getting paid the right amount. Because people will find maybe like 5+ times a year they are underpaid in their paycheck, that their amount of hours aren't counted properly or overtime hours aren't counted properly. So it's important to check your paycheck to make sure you're getting paid what you owe, what you are owed. So I thought we'd start with that, and then we'll look at going from if you have a salary, what's the benefits of having a salary? What's the drawback of having a salary? And can we compare somebody who gets paid based on a salary compared to somebody gets paid based on hourly wage? So let's start by looking at a pay stub. So I just took a sample pay stub online. I was going to use one of mine, but I couldn't find a way to get rid of any information that I don't want you to see. And I couldn't find one that goes back long enough when I worked in the kitchen, when I worked in the car. Anyway, so what you see on your pay stub is your employer information, so your ID or anything like that. Not too important unless you're trying to fill out forms. Important things to look at is period ending. So generally you'll have a period start date as well. So say, okay, it starts from this date and goes to this date. And that's going to be the amount of the dates where if you work that day, your hours count towards this paycheck. Because you may see that the pay date is different than the period ending. So you're going to get paid for amount of dates, and then generally it's a couple days later you get actually paid for those days. So when you're counting up your hours, you want to figure out how many days or how many hours you worked each day in that period for the paycheck. And then you're going to get your income. This is going to be how much you earn without any deductions, without any tax, just based on your hourly wage. So how this one's broken down into is you got your regular pay. So this person worked 80 hours at a wage of $20 per hour. So that's your rate or your wage. And that's going to be how much they earned based on that amount of hours of work. And then you have your overtime. So sometimes it's pay and a half. This person only got pay and a quarter, so $25 an hour. And they worked 5 hours overtime. And that amount is calculated separately. So that's their overtime pay. And sometimes you'll have like stat pay on your pay. So like how many hours you worked on a stat holiday. Or if you didn't work a stat holiday, generally you get if you average 8 hours a day, you'll get paid 4 hours of pay, even if you don't work because it is a stat holiday. So that will show up in your income. So it's important to count the amount of hours that you work. So let's say if I worked 6 hours of overtime and I only get paid 5, I can talk to my employer and be like, hey, I worked 6 hours. We need to check this out. So it's always helpful to keep track of how many hours you work each day as well. So you have a record, be like, oh, here I worked this many hours overtime. Here I worked this many hours overtime. So they can check between their records and your records to make sure you get paid the right amount. So adding those together, that's going to be your current total, or how much you earn. So you can see at the bottom that this person in this pay period earned $1,725. But there's going to be some deductions. So your net pay is going to be how much actually gets put into your bank account after deductions are taken off. So the net pay is how much you actually make. And they can be quite different depending on what deductions you have. And then over here, I'll get to deductions in a second. We have like the year to date. So from the start of the year to the end of the year, how much you're actually making. So this person has a total or like a gross income of just under 40,000, but they have almost 10,000 deductions, meaning they're only making about $30,000. So it's only $30,000 going into the bank account. So let's look at some of the deductions now. So the first one is CPP. This is Canada Pension Plan. So everybody pays into the Canadian pension plan. And then when you retire, you are entitled to amount of money each month based on how much you paid into it. So the more you work, the more money you pay into your Canadian pension plan, the more money you get each month when you retire. So the CPP will take 5.25%. Currently, in your textbook, you have a different value. I think it's like 4.7%, but currently it's 5.25% of your income. So here, 5.25% of 1,725 is going to be $65. So this is how much you are going to have to pay for this paycheck, and then year to date is how much you paid in total. So all this money goes to your CPP, and it's something that you're going to get back when you retire. So when you retire, on average, the average person is going to make about $640 a month, where it can go up to about $1,200 a month you'll make from your Canadian pension plan. So as a teacher, I pay into the Canadian pension plan, but I also pay into the teacher pension plan. So I'd have two pensions when I retire. So this will just, it's kind of like an investment. You're investing some of your money now. So when you retire, you have some income, and it's a forced investment. So you don't have a choice if you want to enroll in the Canadian pension plan. It is set up for everybody. Next is EI. So this is a big thing right now. This is employment insurance. So when you pay employment insurance, you're going to pay 1.73% of your income at a max of $747 a year. So let's say if you're making a lot of money and you pay your $747 and it's only been halfway through the year, the rest of the year you don't have to pay any extra EI. And unlike CPP, your Canadian pension plan, EI does not go towards you. It goes to fund the employment insurance. So if people lose their jobs, they can go on employment insurance and still make some money, so they don't have no income at all. So this is, again, it's not, the more money you put in, it doesn't help you, but it helps Canada as a whole. So it's part of like a government funded program through deductions in your paycheck. And again, it's 1.73%. So this is in the notes as well, so you can look through that. I just thought to have this up so you can kind of see how much this would be. Next is your income tax. So income tax is a bit tricky. So pretty much what happens is based on how much you get each paycheck from the first paycheck. So let's say if you make a ton of money your first paycheck, you're going to get assumed that your income tax is going to be more. So if you make under $48,000, I think you're at a 15% tax. So 15% of your wage gets paid to income tax each paycheck. If you are making more than $48,000, it bumps up to like 20%. So anything over $28,000 you make, it's going to be 20% of that gets the income tax. So the government is going to estimate how much you're going to have to pay at the end of the year. If you keep earning this amount of money throughout the year, how much you have to pay with income tax, and then they take it off each paycheck. So at the end of the year, when you pay your taxes, most of the time you'll get a rebate, or you'll have to pay a smaller amount. You won't have to pay like your $700 in taxes or $7,000 in taxes because you pay it as you go. So this just helps people, because I think it'd be hard if you don't pay any taxes and you pay at the end. You got to make sure you're saving enough money, and you got to figure out how much you want to save. So some people might just not be able to save that $7,000, so we take it out as we go. And you could have like a whole class of trying to figure out taxes. So we just say for now, for most of you, I think, unless some of you are doing very well in high school, you're going to be paying about 15, or you'll pay even less. I think there's a lower category that's like 10 or 12. If you're making like less than $20,000, so it could be a bit less. Next is union dues. So if you're part of a union, you have to fund the union by paying a certain amount of money, and it depends. So I think for teachers, it's like $300 a paycheck for union, or maybe it's less. Oh, I don't know. But everybody that's in the union is going to pay to fund the union position, people that are going to help secure your jobs, help make sure that you're taken care of. So unions, if you're part of a union, you got to pay for it, but there are some benefits as well. And then you got the next three aren't always, so like on my paychecks, I don't currently have life insurance, so I don't have to pay into that. But I do have medical insurance. So part of the employer will pay some of the medical insurance, and then I will pay some of it as well. So that will come out of my paycheck. Actually, that reminds me, for CPP, your employer actually matches how much you put in. So let's say if over a year you put in $1,500, the employer will also put $1,500 into your CPP. So part of it's coming from you, part of it comes from your employer as well. So it's not always that you are paying these fees by yourself. Your employer will also cover some of the fees. But the deductions, this is how much you will actually pay. So what they do is they add up all the deductions, and they're going to take that off of your current total, and that leaves you with your net pay. So that's how much you actually get put into your bank. So again, it's really important to make sure you're counting your hours that you work, because a lot of the time employers will either make a mistake or someone could even under enter some of the hours. It has happened before. So really important to make sure that you're getting paid for the hours you work. Okay, so again, your net pay is going to be, if I move over to this page here, page. So your net pay is going to be your income minus your deductions. The income is how much you are owed. Deductions, how much you pay out to CPP, employment insurance, health insurance, um, those kind of deductions, and then that is your net pay. It's how much actually goes into your bank. Okay, so I'm going to just break part 1 of the video here, and we'll go to part 2 where we look at comparing salary to hourly wage.